153 because that was the big event of the weekend. It was getting a lot of hype and attention during the week. The weigh-ins were crazy busy and things like that, and I saw a lot of hype and excitement on Twitter. I think we previously, in our last live stream, Alex said that, I at least said it probably won't be quite as good as the first two fights, which were great, especially that second fight was a classic. And so really it proved to be, it was a bit of a disappointing outing. Obviously there were some controversial scorecards, you would probably say. I'd say that at least. I thought it was a pretty wide decision, so that's always a good talking point for us, especially. Josh, what did you make of the fight last night? What did you think of Canelo? What do you think of Triple G?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I was thinking would creep into there, like the age factor with Canelo being fresher, that seemed to be on display here. And then Canelo is very comfortable, it seems, at 168 at this point in time. So he looks good, and he's in the prime of his career right now. So his form is top level. Of course, he was moving up in that Bivol fight. So dare to be great, that's the term that's thrown out there. So that is separated from what he's done at 168, and he's basically cleaned it out, and he's continuing to do so. And I think that, last night we just saw a great fighter in his prime against I guess you could say, great fighter who was a tad bit slower, a step behind, who seemed to not be able to really pull the trigger much early on. And unlike the previous fights, it seemed like at this particular juncture, Triple G understood that he lost. So well before the cards were read, it seemed to show on his face that he knew that he lost this particular matchup. And I thought that Canelo just dominated pretty much every facet of the fight. Now, I think I had it 117 to 111. Now, I know for sure one of those rounds, it was a charity round for me in some sense, because Triple D did a little bit more than what he had been doing. But realistically, you may be able to give him 2 rounds in the entire fight, if that. So Canelo Alvarez, just making his case. I'm still the man right here at the top of the sport, and I don't think anything has proved otherwise just yet.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Alex, have you got anything to add to what Josh just said there?
Yes. So, I thought Canelo started out very. Jessica McCaskill said a word I really agreed with. He looked very fluid in those first 6, 7, 8 rounds. I mean, he was working the high guard. He was giving them different looks. He was out jabbing Gennadiy Golovkin, which I don't think anyone ever foresaw happening. But it seemed after a while, Jonathan Banks was given different instructions and finally got Gennadiy to really lock in, those last 4 rounds or so. And he performed well. I think there was round 9. They had a really nice exchange for about 30, 45 seconds. And, I thought maybe we were going to finish strong. But, these guys, with everything, I think really, honestly, with all the mileage, with the, quote unquote punishment they've taken, I'm starting to think that, obviously Gennadiy's at the end of his career. I think we might be out of Canelo's prime. He just didn't seem to be able to keep that high level of, of the boxing skills we've seen, especially from the 2021 year he gave us, which is one of the, best years we've gotten from an elite fighter in many, many, many years. He did say he has a torn ligament in his wrist. He compared it to having like a meniscus tear, and he said he may take a whole year off to heal. He said that it happened during the Caleb Plant fight, so that kind of maybe he's trying to, I don't want to say make an excuse, but kind of give a little bit of possible insight into why he performed how he did against Bivol. And he also mentioned he was fatigued. So that's what makes me think maybe his body's starting to break down, as well as, maybe we're never going to get that Canelo that we just finished enjoying. But, I want the Bivol rematch. He should, still keep on trying to get these top fighters, whether it be a rematch with Bivol, a Charlo, a Benavidez, whatever it may be, at least to be a top fighter. I hope we don't get a tune-up, because I kind of felt like this last fight was a tune-up. Get your surgery. If you need to take a year off, that's fine. But let's get right back to where we were, and let's see if we can get that old Canelo back. Because that was not the Canelo that I've grown to enjoy last night.
Yeah, I think I'm not too sure that revisiting Bivol is such a wise idea. You just said there, Alex, that you like that fight. Maybe he would have a better chance next time. He's also got a couple of other good potential matchups there, notwithstanding boxing politics, which I'm not too sure about who's with who's promoter and stuff in terms of Benavidez, and who else is Ramirez as well up at light heavy as well, as an all Mexican clash possibly. I think that it was just a bit underwhelming last night. I alluded to it in our last live stream that I think that obviously it would have been better if this happened 3 years ago instead of prolonging this trilogy bout. And Golovkin was turned 40. It obviously slowed down quite a bit, and it's quite fresh in the mind that we've watched the first two fights recently. And the first fight, Golovkin was on that front foot a lot and pushing Canelo back against the ropes, and then we made a point of it when we rewatched the second fight that roles were kind of reversed, where Canelo was pushing Golovkin back and he was a bit more successful in that fight. Although having said that, I think we scored a draw in the end. When in the first fight, me and you, Alex, especially, scored the first one to Canelo amazingly. So that was interesting to see how it compared.
Oh, no, other side.
There you go. Compared to the first two fights, it wasn't anywhere near as good. There was a lot of moaning on Twitter, obviously, because that's the place to go for moaning. But yeah, it was kind of lackluster, I suppose, and I think Josh mentioned it during his analysis, where you could kind of see Golovkin had kind of not really given up, but you could just tell that he wasn't winning the fight, and he wasn't going to get the decision either. I've just been having a look at the average scorecard on Fight Night Scores. It's on the screen, and I kind of scored it similar to the way this goes for the average. I think Canelo goes all the way to 8 rounds to 0, and then there was that definitive round 9 where Golovkin kind of decided to make a go of it, and he won this. Then it didn't win the next round. It was close enough to be deemed a draw on Fight Night Scores. I think I gave Canelo that round on my card because I think I had it 10 rounds to 2, but ultimately it comes out as 9 rounds to 2 with that one even round 10, and I think that was quite a fair reflection. A lot of the rounds were quite close, but Canelo was always edging him. He's always doing the better work, and I was really surprised at the scorecards at the end. Two scores the same at 115, 113, and then Dave Moretti's a bit more in line with reality, I'd say, at 116 to 112. Although that's still probably slightly too close for my liking. One interesting thing that I did pick up on when the scorecards were shown on Twitter is on that round 9 that was definitively Golovkin's best round, only one of the judges scored it in his favour. So explain that one to us, please, Josh.
Hey, judging, that's what it is. Everybody sees something different.
Amazing. Okay, so let's have a look into the chat. Let's see what some people are saying about the fight last night. Kaiser said, some articles say that Golovkin got paid $43 million for that fight. Madness, if anyone wants to fight again after that. And all those were paydays. Yeah, I mean, you can retire happy with that. Can now either fight Charlo or retire? That's what Boz said. Is that for Canelo, maybe? One last roll of the dice to become undisputed at middleweight, then retire, rather than going up to light heavy. I guess Or is that for Golovkin? I don't know. I don't know who you mean. Anyway, yeah, I think that about covers it. Do you both think that Golovkin will continue? Or do you think he should hang him up? Go for it, Alex.
I mean, after the fight, he said, "Hey, remember, guys, I have 3 belts at 160." So I honestly think there's 3 options: retire, obviously, fight for the undisputed with Jamal Charlo, who has a WBC belt, or just get a send off. Whether he wants to do it here in the California, Las Vegas area, or somewhere near Kazakhstan. Other than that, there's no what else is there? There's no reason just to get a title defense under your belt. You're 40 years old. You just robbed the bank. You just fought one of the greatest fighters of our generation. There's, like I said, so retire, undisputed, send off. That's it.
Yeah. Would you go along with that as well, Josh?
Yeah, I think I subscribe to the same thought process there. Hopefully, he just does the undisputed matchup since we've, at the very least, gotten a number of those this year. I mean, the potential of doing that once more. But yeah, if he doesn't do that, then yeah, I think everything else is just kind of, he's either doing it for the money or just, I guess, the love of the game. But certainly, certainly he has to think about, his age and where he is at this particular stage and what does it do for his legacy. So
yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's leave that there. Obviously, I'm sure we'll soon get Canelo's next moves out there, but I think we'll be waiting a while if he's got that hand injury, won't we? So yeah, let's just wait and see. I wouldn't mind if Golovkin just called it quits. He's had a great career. He's a legend of the game, and yeah, I think he'll be respected and lauded accordingly from all fight fans. So